My name is Tim Adams. I'm a member of the Sons of the American Revolution of the John Sevier chapter, and today I'll be your MC. We want to thank each and every one for being here in this fine sunny afternoon, and we're going to try and start the procedures. At this time, I'd like to do an invocation with Reverend Chaplain David Chaplain. Please come forward to do the invocation.
Thank you, Tim. Let us pray. Father in heaven, we thank you very much for the safe travel of all the participants and those who've gathered here as guests. We thank you for our country with its many freedoms that we enjoy. May it ever be so. Thanks for the service and the part that Robert Patterson played in ensuring those freedoms. May all that we say and do this day be glory to your name. In our Savior's name we offer this prayer. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Chaplain.
March time, march! Color halt! Left face! Present, hard!
I'd like to introduce General B.B. Bell, who will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you. Would you join me in reciting the pledge, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
SAR pledge. We descendants
of the heroes of the American Revolution, who by their sacrifices established the United States of America, reaffirm our faith in the principles of liberty and our constitutional republic, and solemnly pledge ourselves to defend them against every foe.
Order! Arm! Post your colors!
I would now like to introduce the chapter president of the John Sevier chapter, George Eisen, to give some special thanks. George?
Thank you. Thank you.
First of all, I'd like to thank everybody for participating in the honor of this great American patriot. I'd also like to thank the Tennessee Color Guard members for their participation. I'd like to thank the family of this great patriot, the cadets and Lieutenant Colonel Dave Story from the Sale Creek High School Junior ROTC for their support. Also for Mission Barbecue for providing the lunch for the Tennessee Color Guard. And also I'd like to thank Williamson Funeral Home for loaning us the chairs for this event. And I'd also like to recognize my first and second vice presidents who've done a heck of a job of setting everything up here, especially Cliff. So thank you all.
At this time, I'd like to introduce our dignitaries and the participants of this ceremony. Our host state officer, the Tennessee Sons of the American Revolution, the president is Dave Carr. Please stand, Dave. The Vice President General of the Southern District, a friend from Alabama here, is Bobby Joe Sales from Alabama. Bobby? Come on out in the heat.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I am Bobby Joe Sales from Alabama. I am the Southern District National Society Sons of the American Revolution Vice President General. Southern District is composed of 4 states: Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, and Tennessee. I have thoroughly enjoyed today's events. A few weeks ago, we were at the gathering at Sycamore Shoals. I've been wanting to go there for a long time. I even canceled an event that I already had on my calendar. I happen to be the ambassador for the Alabama Bicentennial Commission. Alabama will turn 200 years old on December the 14th, 2019. I canceled that event so I could go to Sycamore shows. And it was so great to see Ronnie there and so many of my Tennessee friends. I am impressed with the family that are here from the Pattersons. You may be going to do this later, but if you are a family member of Patriot Patterson, how about standing so I can see?
You got some way in the back too.
Everybody, wow, let's give them
We have Charles Damon in the back, who's the chair for the Rombab oration. He's back there. And myself, I'm the chair for the Friends of the Library for the Sons of the American Revolution. Additionally, we have some state officers here from the Tennessee Children of the American Revolution, the CAR. They are, let's see if I got their name, Maple Vaught. Where is she? There she is.
Here.
And Tennessee President, Miss Laura Vaught. We'll be getting up later to give you some words of wisdom about their organization and all. We look forward to that. Chapters today that are being represented here include the John Sevier chapter, the host chapter, the Colonel Benjamin Cleveland chapter is here, the Andrew Crockett chapter is here from the state of Franklin chapter is here, Hiawassee is here, Andrew Jackson chapter is here, and the David Lindsay from Alabama, the DAR folks are here, and the Chief John Ross chapter from the DAR are here. So we have a lot of chapters. Let's give them a round of applause for all being here. Indian fighter. He was a pioneer and considered the first citizen of Hamilton County, which is pretty interesting. Robert Patterson, at the age of 15, enrolled in the Mercantville, North Carolina militia as part of the Salisbury District Brigade in 1779. Robert was part of the Captain William Garner's company, serving as a light dragoon under Colonel Francis D. Melody. The brigade moved on and worked under Major General Benjamin Lincoln's effort and helped take over some of the different fights that we're going to talk about as we move on. While in that light brigade, Robert probably participated in the Battle of Stony Ferry in South Carolina on 20 June 1779. The dragoons were then detached from the garrison of Charleston to guard the lines of communication, allowing most of the men of the unit to escape capture at the fall of Charleston in 12 May of 1780. 30 July 1780, Hanging Rock, South Carolina. Robert, now under Major William Richardson Davies' command, participated in an ambush of 3 companies of Colonel Samuel Bryan's North Carolina Loyalists. The ambush was located right in sight of the strong British post called Hanging Rock. The Loyalists were cut to pieces, with most being killed or wounded. On 5 August 1780, the Patriots again surprised and overran the Loyalist force, which suffered about 350 men killed, wounded, or taken prisoner, forcing the British to abandon the Hanging Rock outpost, threatening their lines of communication. Captain Garner's company is also given credit of being at the Camden battle, which we did not win. However, he was there. Charlotte became a rendezvous point for the survivors after the defeat at Camden. However, the Mecklenburg County militia stayed behind to reorganize and harass the British. So they just kept on giving those guys a hard day. 21 September 1780, Colonel Davies attacked the British Legion Cavalry and the 71st Regiment of foot at Wahab's plantation. The British were again surprised and routed. So we're doing pretty good down there in the North Carolina side, South Carolina, so that's good. Colonel Davies' men captured about 120 stand of arms and about 96 horses, which they needed since they had lost a lot of their horses. They could be remounted. In those days, you've got to have a lot of good horses. 7 October 1780, Kings Mountain. 6 known companies were fought in that battle, but the rosters were not totally complete. Robert Patterson was an active militiaman, could have easily been in one of those units. His service and experience were noted, and he was made a lieutenant under Captain William Garner in 1781. The Light Dragoons again participated in several actions during this campaign time, from February of 3rd to 4th of 1781, and the Battle of White Cells March in March of 1781. Very active, down and moving on. Brigadier General Griffiths Rutherford, after his exchange, reorganized the Salisbury District Brigade and militia and moved the attack to force the British out of Wilmington in the fall of 1781. A subordinate commander, Colonel William Iron, had a Captain Patterson commanding a company in his command. Now, no other Patterson was noted to be an officer at this time within that brigade, so it's likely it was Robert. 17 November, Rutherford's army received news that the surrender at Yorktown and that the British under Major Craig was evacuating Wilmington. The war was almost over. Now in 1792, Brigadier General Rutherford and many of his men moved to Tennessee. Robert did the same thing. Robert moved as well and appears on the payroll as an ensign in the Knox County Regiment, Hamilton District Militia from 1792 to 1794. He may have participated in General Sevier's 1793 Etowah campaign in that position. Finally, Robert married Rhonda Witt in Knox County, and in 1798 they moved to Ray County. As you know, that's just north of us here. In 1807, the Pattersons moved to Sale Creek in an area that is now called Hamilton County. He secured special permission from the government and the Cherokee Nation to live where he settled. And that is a short bio of our patriot, Robert Patterson. At this time, I'd like to invite up our Hamilton County historical lady, Jessica Dimitru. Are you here? There she is. She's standing in for Linda Mines, which is her mom, and she's going to give us a little rendition on Robert and the mission here.
I am Jessica Dimitru, the past immediate president of the Chief John Ross chapter, Daughters of the American Revolution. And I'm also here representing my mother, Linda Mines, the Hamilton County historian. We are here to commemorate also the 200th birthday of Hamilton County. It was chartered on the 25th of October in 1819. And while we are here to reflect on Robert Patterson, we also ask our citizens to reflect on the ideas and principles associated with the founding of this constitutional republic, and 30 years later, this county. By honoring this Revolutionary War patriot, Robert Patterson, we are honored with the foundational elements: liberty, equality, justice, and the rights and responsibilities associated with self-governance, the very keystones of this nation. Our revolutionary patriots boldly stepped forward, willingly choosing to take up arms against England with the dream of independence as their guiding light. Today we honor this patriot's role in the development of this nation and his early involvement in settling Hamilton County. It is important that we never forget our founding and that we pledge eternal fidelity to the memory of those who secured our freedom. Rest in peace, patriot, you are not forgotten.
Now on that note, we're going to have some family remarks from Paul Patterson. Paul, would you like to come up and give us some of those notes about Robert?
Well, you've got a lot more notes about Robert than I do, and it's really nice to hear about all that he's done and might have participated in, and I appreciate the research that was done just to bring that forth today. A lot easier to read it than it is to actually research it. But I did have a few thoughts, as I was asked or given the opportunity to speak here today. First of all, I just want to say my dad is here, Robert Patterson Sr. He's the great-great-great-grandson of our patriot. And then Robert Jr., my brother, was sitting right next to me up here, and then myself. We're Robert Sr.'s children, great-great-great-great-grandchildren of the patriot. And then Andrew Patterson's here, my son. And of course, you guessed, he's 5 great-grandson of the patriot. Basically, what I'd like to say is this. King David of Israel wrote, "The lines have fallen to me in pleasant places. Indeed, my heritage is beautiful to me." He was speaking of his lineage and his place in history. I too, as a Patterson, feel the same way. Ever since I can remember, I have heard captivating stories of the generations of Pattersons that came before me. For any of us, our heritage is not something that we have chosen. Rather, we have been placed here by the grace and sovereignty of God. Still, I'm grateful for it, and I want to build on that heritage into the future. Many of us here have obviously benefited from the positive and sometimes very difficult choices of those who have gone before us. So let us also choose to live our lives in such a way that our current families, as well as our future generations, will benefit from those choices and from the values and character they represent. This is one of the greatest ways we can honor those who have benefited us in this way. The Robert Patterson family has brought significant positive service to this region in past generations, and is our family's goal and intent to continue to do so by God's grace into the future. As I said, although I had no choice of what family I was placed into or the heritage thereof, still I am grateful to be a Patterson, and our family is grateful for Patriot Robert Patterson and all of those who have fought for principle and freedom over the years. We are also thankful to the Sons of the American Revolution and all of you who have gathered for this fitting tribute and memorial for Patriot Robert Patterson. Thank you.
On those notes now, I'm going to invite Paul to come forward to be escorted by one of our cadets down to the marker for the unveiling. And be careful. Vice President General from the Southern District, Bobby Joe Seals. Would you come on up and dedicate the Patriots marker, please?
With this unveiling, members of the Tennessee State Society, Southern District, National Society of the Sons of the American Revolution dedicate this marker to the glory of God and in recognition of the memory of Robert Patterson, Patriot of the American Revolution.
Now, at this portion of the ceremony, we're going to do the presentation of the wreaths and gravesite and the rendering of honors. Today, we put our wreaths up here for safety reasons, so as I call out the respective person, please go here to do your rendering instead of down into the area there. It could be a little dangerous. First up, Vice President General, Southern District, Bobby Sevier. President of the Tennessee Sons of the American Revolution, Mr. Dave Carr. Senior State President, Tennessee CAR, Mrs. Maple Vaught. and, want to take her too? Yes, and the CAR President, Ms. Laura Bach. From the Benjamin Cleveland chapter, the president of that chapter, Dr. David Chaffin. Patriot and Color Guard member Steve Mulholland for the Andrew Jackson chapter. Tennessee Sons of the American Revolution commander of the Color Guard, John Kleins. President of the John Sevier chapter, Mr. George Eisen. First District Director and President of the State of Franklin chapter, Mr. Don Hills. There he is. From the Andrew Jackson chapter, Fred Hand. The immediate past Regent Chief John Ross chapter of DAR, Jessica Dimitru. At this time, I'd like to introduce Miss Laura Bott, who wants to talk. Both you ladies like to come forward for a minute. She is Tennessee's CAR president. Ladies.
Greetings from the Tennessee Society Children of the American Revolution Senior Leadership. Senior Society President Mrs. Suzanne White and I would like to thank Mr. Cliff Kent and Mr. Tim Adams and the John Sevier chapter of the Sons of the American Revolution for inviting us to participate in honoring our Patriot ancestors, specifically Robert Patterson. I would like to introduce now our Tennessee Society Children of the American Revolution State President Laurel Bach.
Tennessee Society, Sons of the American Revolution, family and guests. Greeting from the Tennessee Society, Children of the American Revolution. Thank you for inviting the TNSSAR to this wreath-laying ceremony for Robert Patterson. He joined the militia at 15 years old, which is only 1 year younger than me. This is a very interesting and inspiring story that he did this at such a young age and was fighting a war then. TNSSAR has 356 members across 23 society, and this year's state project is Heroes and Horses, which is a therapeutic riding program for veterans. This is also the 125th anniversary for NSCAR, which is the National Society Children of the American Revolution. Thank you again for inviting the TSCAR.
I'd like to again introduce the commander of the Color Guard, John Kleins, for the musket salute.
As the color guard lines up for the musket salute, I'm going to take a minute and explain the uniforms that we wear. Each one of us researches our own uniforms, and they're allowed to pick from 4 different styles of uniform. We have represented here today are 3, the 4th one being the Scottish uniform, and we don't have anyone in a kilt. We don't have any Scottish uniforms here today. We do have the red, white, and blue of the Continental Army. This uniform was adopted about 2 years into the war. Prior to that, the states bought the uniform for the soldiers. So you'll see sometimes a brown jacket with red trim. You'll see the blue and the tan that George Washington wore. That was provided by the state of Virginia. Until his command staff, he continued that color for his command staff. The second type of uniform, and the most common that you see today, is the militia. The militia was the common farmer. He was the artisan. He was the shopkeeper of the time. They agreed from the age of 16 to drill and train once a month with the local militia, and they were the protection of the community against Indians, against, later as it turned out, the British. But any event that the local community needed protecting from, the militia took care of that. I'm dressed as a rifleman. My ancestor was Continental Line. He was a soldier, he served 5 years, but he was in a rifle company. They were the scouts. They were the ones that ran the pickets. Their unit was never issued uniforms. They were issued rifle frocks, like I wear, and breeches. George Washington wanted his riflemen to stand out. He felt that the British could easily recognize an American rifleman, and as he put it, it would strike no great amount of fear in the hearts of the British. This time we're going to fire, we have muskets and rifles. We're going to fire 3 volleys and a salute to our Patriot ancestor. You'll notice sometimes that the guns don't go off, they don't always fire, and they're very slow to load and fire, but that's how it was back then, so please bear with us. Left shoulder, hard. About face. Prepare your firelock. Full cock, aim, fire! Prepare your firelock. Full cock, aim, fire! Prepare your firelock. Full cock. Aim. Fire. Order. Arms. Left shoulder. Arms. About face. Present. Arms. Order. Arms. Dismissed.
Go along with us on this.
Until we meet again, let us remember our obligations to our forefathers who gave us our Constitution, Bill of Rights, an independent Supreme Court, and a nation of free men.
Chaplain David Chapter, if you come give us our benediction, please, sir.
Will you pray with me? Father in heaven, thank you for the opportunity to recognize, reflect, and honor the memory and service of Robert Patterson. May we never forget or minimize the efforts of valor made by patriots like Robert Patterson. May the SAR continue its program to recognize and honor patriots to whom we owe so much. Dismiss us in your care, we pray in Christ's name. Amen.
Amen.